Hello everyone, LilahsGigi here, and today I'm going to show you how to make Angel of Hope by ClarkMichaella. She has dedicated this to families who have lost young ones and also to families who are dealing with family violence. It's a great dedication from ClarkMichaella. Michaella, I don't know why this is taking so long to come up. There we go. Anyway, Michaella has quite a few gorgeous original designs on her account. Hop on over to Instagram and give her a follow. That's ClarkMichaella, M-I-C-H-A-E-L-L-A. Like her photos and give her a follow for me. Okay, so today this is your setup. It's a V. Lower in the center, up, up, up. Okay. I didn't want to do this in too bright colors because of what it's for. So I'm going to use white sweets right now for the side. So I'm going to drop a closure band. And then I'm going to, one at a time, Sandy, please. I'm going to bring out the border. Now I am going to bead the sides, and there is beading up the center. I'm not sure if you need to bead the center or not. I'll probably have to take a look at that because I don't think they're looped into anything. I think they're just looped onto a pin and then they get hooked up. So I don't think they are, what am I trying to say here? I don't think they loop and hold anything for your bracelet, okay? So I am, as like I said, I am beading, let me check that. I need to make sure that's the sweets because, yeah, sweets because sometimes my other ones get mixed in. So I am beading with these up the side. So that's every other one. So no bead, bead, and then you would go no bead, bead, no bead, bead, all the way up to the side. Okay, so I have no bead here. I'm going to add a bead. So go ahead and do your perimeter. I believe when we get to the top, excuse me, it goes, oh my goodness, my body is in the way. Let me scooch out of the way here. Okay, so it goes just like this. So fourth pin from the top, you'll take it diagonal up, and to the center. Same thing on the right, okay? So go ahead and do your borders. And this is a 7 pin bar setup. So go ahead and do your borders all the way, and then I will be back with you. So I am back, and here is the top of my loom, right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 down, and then I went up to the center and up to the center on this side. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to lay the pattern around here. So I've chosen to do it in this blue sparkly, I don't even know what it is, but it's very pretty and it's very delicate. So what we're going to do, first pin bar, first pin, diagonal to the right, diagonal to the right, then we're going to go straight up, okay? Then from there, we're going to go diagonal down to the left, and then diagonal up to the left, okay? Then we're going to follow that pattern again. Diagonal to the right, straight up, straight up, goodness me. Diagonal to the right, diagonal to the right, straight up, diagonal down to the left, diagonal up to the right, to the left, up to the left. There we go. Okay, and make sure you push your bands down. So that is your pattern, okay? And you'll do that all the way up to the end of your loom. And let's do the other side. Okay. Last pin bar, first pin, diagonal to the left, diagonal to the left, straight up, diagonal down to the right, diagonal up to the right, and then diagonal to the left. My fingers out of the way. Diagonal to the left, straight up, diagonal down to the right, and diagonal, whoops, up to the right. Okay, so follow that pattern all the way to the end of your loom, and then I will be back with you, making sure that you push all of your bands down. Okay, yeah, and then I'll be right back with you when I finish mine. I'm back, and I brought these diagonal to the right, straight up, diagonal down to the left, diagonal up to the left, and the same thing over here, diagonal in, straight up, diagonal down, and diagonal right. Okay, so this is what your loom should look like. All right, so I want to talk to you about beads. These beads are laid every other, excuse me for the noise, sorry, I forgot to pull these bands. They're laid every third opening, okay, and they go across this way. Now, if you, and I'm pretty sure that when you loop them back up to here, and so they just get caught up in the looping process, okay? So I don't believe you need those. If you do, I'll make a note in the in here somewhere or let you know. But if you decide you have a band that, well, you can also put a bead up the center here is what I'm trying to say. So 1, 2, you would put it up 1, 2, the third one, between the third and fourth one if you wanted. I'm going to lay mine across this way. I have these gorgeous beads. I'm hoping that they're going to fit in there, and it looks like they're going to be a little crooked. So what I'm going to do is you lay, well, it gets a little confusing. I'm hoping I can tell you this correctly. We're going to lay center bands all the way up, okay? And then we're going to come back and we're going to lay the band, the beaded band that goes across here. Now, because these are wide, and if you just take a look at this, they're not going to fit properly between the band that goes up the center. They just won't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay them first. If you have the round beads and they'll fit in between that band, then by all means lay them after the single band up the middle. So I'm trying not to confuse you, at the same time trying to explain why I'm actually putting this on now. Okay, so I'm going to put those on every third one. All right, so if your bead is round and it will fit, let me just lay this. I'm sorry, I'm just hoping I'm not going to confuse everybody. All right, so center pin bar, first pin, straight up, and then your next one would be straight up. Okay. The reason I am laying those, and I'm trying to explain it, is that this is wider than that band that goes across the center here. And it will get in the way of my bead. So the bead will, the band will be over part of this bead. And I don't want that. That is why I'm laying it now, before I lay that band up the center. Oh gosh, I hope I didn't confuse everybody. So single band straight up, all the way to the end of your loom. And then if your beads will fit between here, and you'll be able to bring them down, then lay that single band up the center, and then come back, and every third opening lay your bead across here. Okay, I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but I think I'm going to do it this way. All right, so single bands up the center, and then lay that bead every third opening. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3 is where you would lay that bead across here. Okay. And like I said before, also, because there are several ways you can lay the bead and still get the desired effect. If you wanted, you could lay a band, and then put a bead on this band, if you wanted. Okay. Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can actually lay your beads. But the bead on top of that single chain follows the flipogram. Okay? Gosh, I hope I didn't confuse everybody. So, yeah, I'll show you when I come back. All right, just go ahead and lay those center bands and then lay your beads. Be right back. Okay, so I am back, and I did not have enough of those really pretty beads, so I got a round bead. But do you see what I'm saying, how this is a circle and it sort of fits in between this band and that side of the band? That's what I was talking about. And if you look at this one, it overlaps that band, and that is why I chose to put that on the bottom. Okay, so this is what your loom should look like right now. Okay, so according to the flipogram, what we're going to do is put, let's see, we're going to go 1, 2 up, third pin bar, second pin, bring your band in towards the middle, diagonal, and then diagonal down and to the right. Okay. Skipping over that, and this is going to be around this bead. Skipping over that bead, you're going to do from the center, you're going to do a diagonal to the left, and then a diagonal, one band, to the right. Go up to where your next bead is. Bead's in the center, the pin below it, in the center, diagonal down to the left, and diagonal down to the right. Then we're going to go past that bead to the next pin, diagonal up to the left, and diagonal, if I can get that band, runaway band. Well, I'll get another one. Didn't want to come. Diagonal up and to the right. Okay, so you will have this effect on either side of your bead. So do that all the way up to the top of your loom, and I will, well, let's see, I think we can go ahead and let me add one more here. Let me go up to my third bead right here, and I'm going to do from the center, diagonal down to the left, diagonal down to the right. Okay? All right. So where, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 pins up. Where that goes out diagonal and this comes down diagonal, we're going to connect those. Just add a band on the left-hand side and a band on the right-hand side. Just like that. 2, 4, 6. So you'll have a hexagon. Okay, so we'll go up to the next one. In between the beads, this one comes up, this one comes down. We're going to put bands right here. So one on the left-hand side, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pins up. Okay, and then one on the right-hand side. So you'll close those up and make a hexagon out of them. Okay, rewind if you have to. I think that was actually pretty simple, and make sure you push your beads down, your bands down, and I will be back with you. So I am back, and this is what I ended up with right here. So you can see I have the hexagons right here, in between my beads. Hexagon right here in between my bead and here. So this is what your loom should look like. I changed my background color to dark because my bands are light and I want to make sure that you'll be able to see them. Okay, so what we need to do now is third pin bar, first pin, we need to lay a band straight up to connect this. Oh, something in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll do the same thing straight up to connect that. Okay. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to lay zigzags, and it looks like she has actually laid a zigzag across here, so it goes here first and then here. Okay. So second pin bar, first pin, zig, and a zag. Diagonal to the right, diagonal to the left, and diagonal to the right, and diagonal to the left, ignoring my blue bands because that's the pattern underneath. Okay? I'm going to slip over to the other side. I can get these bands untwisted. Slip over to this side. Second pin bar from the right. We're going to go diagonal up to the right. And then we're going to go diagonal to the left, and diagonal to the right, and diagonal to the left. And make sure you push your bands down. Okay, so finish that all the way up to the end of the loom, and I will be back with you when I finish mine. Okay, so I am back and I finished my zigzags here and I added one right here. The same thing on this side. I'm not sure that we need them, but it was in the flipogram, so that's what we're going to do. And this is what your loom should look like. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do single chains on pin bar 2 all the way up to the end of your loom. Grab a couple of more bands here. Okay. Single band, straight up. And make sure you push those bands down. I've already pushed some of them down, but because I'm using the 300, the sweets are getting a little thick in there. Okay, so second pin bar from the right, you want to do the exact same thing. Single band straight up, single band straight up, and a single band. You can get them untwisted, straight up. Okay, so finish those all the way up to the end of your loom and I will be back. Okay, so I am back and I finished my single chains up up 2 and 6. Okay, and this is what your loom should look like. Let me get it in the center there. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we'll start on the right hand side. It doesn't really matter. Third pin bar from the right, we're going to do a long stretch, diagonal up and to the right. Okay, it's 1, long diagonal, and long diagonal up to the right. Okay, go over to the third pin bar, first pin, long diagonal to the left, long diagonal to the left, and long diagonal to the left. Okay, now when you get up to the top here, you're not going to be able to do long stretches here, so we'll just do a short stretch. Okay, so go ahead and finish that all the way up to the end of your loom, and I will be back with you when I finish mine. Okay, so I am back, and I laid this long diagonal here, and then the short one right here. Same thing on this side. Okay, so now and this is what your loom should look like. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cross those. So second pin bar, first pin, diagonal to the right, and these will be short crosses. Diagonal to the right, next one, diagonal to the right, and diagonal. That's kind of stretchy there. Let me get rid of that one. And grab another one. And diagonal to the right. Okay, I have pushed my bands down, but as you can see, they keep creeping up to the top. Okay, so we're going to go over to the other side here. Second pin bar from the right, first pin, and we're going to go towards the center. Diagonal to the left. Come on, I'm not so hot left-handed. Diagonal to the left, and diagonal to the left. So go ahead and finish that to the top of the loom and make sure that you get those bands pushed down. They have to be pushed down or you're going to end up with bands popping off of your pegs and you really don't want that. So I will be right back. Well, I am back and I'm at the top of my loom, and on the flipogram she has also put a long stretch right here. So that's what we're going to do up to that third pin bar. Okay, and do the same thing on the other side from where the single chain goes up. I'm going to go on there, that pin, and do a long stretch to there. Okay, here we go. All right, I wasn't real sure about that, and I was like, well, okay, but that's how it's done. So this is what your loom should look like. Okay, now what we're going to do is where we have to fill in some things in the center here. So where you have your bead, okay, so mine is 1, 2, 3 pins up, center, I'm not going to use that color. I'm going to use the silver. So center, 1, 2, 3 up. I'm going to take a band, put it to the left, another one from the center to the right, and then just like this. So we're making a diamond over, and we really need to push those pins down, our bands down. We're making a diamond over the bead. Go up to where this bead is, do the exact same thing, diagonal to the left, diagonal to the right, and then from the center, the one above it, I'm going to go up, diagonal to the right, and then diagonal to the left. Okay, I'll do that with you one more time. There's my bead, the pin right below it, diagonal to the left, diagonal to the right, another band. From this pin here, we're going to go diagonal to the center, and from this pin here, we're going to go diagonal to the center. So that makes a diamond right above your bead. Okay, so go ahead and finish that, and I will be back with you when I'm done. Okay, so I am back, and I did this diagonal right here, and according to the flipogram, we're going to put another diagonal right above that. So second pin down, out to the left, out to the right, towards the center, and then towards the center. Whoops. Well, that one ran away from me. Towards the center. So you have another diagonal right here. So you have, this is the last one that we did, and then we added this one. Okay? So now I think we're almost done laying bands. Almost. And I am pushing these down because we still have this spot right here between your beads that we have to fill in. Okay, so this is what your loom should look like. Okay, now I was trying to decide whether to use white or go with the silver, but I think I'm going to go ahead and try white. I know I have a lot of white in there, but that's okay. And hopefully this will come out okay. So what we're going to do, your bead is here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. What we're going to do is we're going to lay starburst here. So second pin up, middle pin bar to the right. Oh goodness, and I had pushed those down. From the center, diagonal to the right, down, straight up and down. Oh, that's going to get pretty packed in there. Push down, push down. Okay. From the center, diagonal down into the left, diagonal up to the left, and then straight up. Okay, and you're going to want to put cap bands on each of these. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Just, that's 2, and I almost always use triple cap bands, so that's what I'm doing here. So you want to make sure, okay, so it's to the right, diagonal down to the right, straight down, diagonal to the left down, diagonal up to the left, straight up, and then your cap band. I'll do that with you one more time. You can see between your beads this open space, and that's the space we're going to use. We're going to use that center pin right between those beads. So diagonal to the right. What's up with that? I don't know what was up with that one. It had something on it. Diagonal to the right, diagonal down to the right. Oh, Sebastian, he got a new cage today. Straight up and down. Okay. In the center, diagonal to the left, down. From the center, diagonal to the right. To the left, up. And then straight up. And then put your cap band on. Okay? So I'm pretty sure you'll be able to tell where those are. Like I said, they're between the beads. Go to the center pin between those beads and do your starburst. If you need to rewind, go ahead. And I'm going to go ahead and finish mine and push these down and make sure I put my cap band on the center of my starburst, and I will be back with you. Okay, so I am back, and the last thing I did was this starburst right here. Okay, now I'm pretty sure we're going to need a cap band right here, so I'm going to go ahead and put that, well, I'm going to flip it around and then put that cap band on there, although we're looping up the starburst first. Okay, I just don't want to forget that cap band. Whoops, well, come on. Anyway, I'm pretty sure there's going to be one there, so I'm putting one there anyway, and then if not, I can always take it off. Okay, so what we're going to do, so I added that cap band here. So, ooh, so sorry. So what we're going to do is we're going to loop up our starburst. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're going to go in, grab the band that's on top, which is the bottom, the one that goes straight down, and bring it back to itself. Okay, and we're going counterclockwise. So your next band is the diagonal that goes down and to the right. Going to bring it back to itself. The one that goes up to the right, bring it back to itself. Go in and grab that band that goes straight up and down and bring it back to itself. Grabbing this diagonal band here and bringing it back to itself. Okay, and then this one and bring it back to itself. So rewind if you have to. There isn't any reason for me to show you how to do it again, because you're going to do that for every single starburst that you have on your loom. Okay, so go ahead and loop up your starburst, and I'm going to do mine, and I will be can't talk. I will be back with you as soon as I'm done. Okay, so I am back, and the last thing I did was, did I do that one? Oh, look at that, I missed one. Okay, well, let me just do it. I don't even know what happened there. Okay, so I'm going to go in and finish this starburst. My goodness. Thought I had them all. I guess I wasn't paying attention to my own advice, huh? Okay, so almost done with this. So I'm going to just loop them back up. Whoops. All right, so now I've finished all the starbursts, and you'll have the bead in between your starburst. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 starburst on here, and this is what your loom should look like. Okay, so these are going to get looped back to themselves from the center. So what we're going to do first is we have this diamond and this diamond. Okay, so we're going to be looping up the diamonds next. And you did need a cap band right here. Okay, so we're going to go in, grab the band on top, which is the diagonal that goes to the left, and bring it back to itself. Go in that same pin, grab the next band on top, which is that one, goes back to itself. And everything that you're doing for these diamonds is going to be looped out of the center. Okay. I am looking at this and I'm thinking I need a cap band here. Yes, I do. Cap band. Where I think it's just on this diamond. Yes. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So in between those 2 diamonds, you will need a cap band. Okay. So I'm going to go into that cap band, take the band that's on top, which is the diagonal that goes down to the left, and loop it back to itself. Go in, grab the next band on top, which is the diagonal that goes down to the right, and loop it back to itself. Okay. I'm going to go in that same pin. The next band on top should be the diagonal that goes to the left. You'll loop it back to itself. The next one is the one that goes out to the right, and you will loop it back to itself. Okay? Excuse me. All right, so I'm looking at this. We need to finish this up. Going to go at the bottom of that first starburst. Going to go in, grab that diagonal that goes down and to the right. Well, just that pin, just that band, and loop it back to itself. Go in there and grab the diagonal that goes down and to the right. And your bead might be in the way. Just be careful and loop it back to itself. Okay? And that is what this should look like. Let me get that a little bit closer. Not too much, but a little. Okay? So anyway, that is what that should look like. We're going to go up to the next diagonal, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Excuse me. Let me make sure I got everything in here. And I believe I did. Looking at this one under here. You know what? I will be right back because this band, well, no, I think it's okay. Because those are lower. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pins up. I'm going to take from the center. These diagonals are going to go back, and these are going to go back. So you want to reach in, grabbing the one on top. Yes. Goes back to itself. And it looks like these are just the diagonals that are on top here. I'm still a little concerned about this band under here. I will double check that, but I'm going to go in here, grab the one on top, bring it back. So we're looping up those diamonds, and my bead is in the way here. Okay, so looping up these diamonds. I kind of want to go ahead and finish all of my diamonds, and then I'm going to double check for these cross bands on the bottom. Okay, because I'm not seeing them in here, so I just need to double check. So go ahead and do your the top of that starburst, loop it back, and then I will be back and let you know about the underside here. Okay, so we're just looping up over the bead. We're looping up those diamonds over the bead, and then I will, like I said, I will go off camera and take a look at that flip and make sure that we aren't missing anything, because I want to make sure that everything loops up properly. Oh, my bead is in the way. Come on. Okay. So go ahead and do the diamonds that are over the bead, and they loop out from the center to themselves. So from the center to themselves. Okay. Go ahead and do that all the way up to the end of the loom, and then I will be back with the next step. Okay, so I am back, and in this process right here, we're just doing these diamonds. Okay, so I was right about that, and it looks like these will get looped up later. So this is what your loom should look like. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to 1, 2, 3rd pin bar, this long stretch here. We're going to bring it back to itself. So you're going to reach in, grab that band, the top band. Is that the one? It doesn't look like the one to me. Ah, there it is. Now if I can just get it. Is that it? Oh, I've got more than one. Goodness, you know, sometimes I'm going to do this. I'm going to pull it out and just hold on to it so I know exactly where I'm going. All right. Sometimes you got to do that. So we're going to bring it back to itself. Okay. Then we're going to go to the next pin up and the short one. Now what we're going to do is go and bring all the short ones back to themselves. So next pin up. This is what I get for putting short, thin bands and thick bands together. Oh, I am just having a hard time here. All right, I think I got it. And bring it back to itself. Hopefully you're not having the same problems I am. Okay, grab the next band, that short diagonal, and bring it back to itself. And do that all the way up to the end of the loom. This just looks a little different here because we took that long one that was connected here. Okay, so I'll go in here, I'll do this one more time. The short diagonal there, reach in, grab the one that's on top, which should be that short one, and loop it back to itself. Okay, I'm going to go over to the right hand side here and do the same thing. And maybe I should, I have so many bands on here and I've had to push things out that, you know, I've got tons, it just feels like I've got tons of bands on my hook. On my loom. Oh, come on. Well, it's just not cooperating with me because I've got so many bands. All right, let's try this again. That one little cross band right there does not want to get out of the way. Come on. It just doesn't want to move. It's like it's stuck. Let me move it up and push this one down. I mean, sometimes you just have to do what you got to do to get the bands, right? So, and then you get to say, oh, you weren't even seeing me struggle, were you? Well, trust me, I was struggling. All right. See, and it's still in the way. All right, I'm going to try it this way. I got it. Yay, success. All right, sorry about that. You know, I'm just normal, just human like everybody else. All right, so you're going to go in and grab this next band. Yeah, see that? Oh my goodness. I'm just having a hard time here. It's a little late. I can always blame it on that, right? All right, well, oh, and my finger got stuck in the pegs. Okay, there we go. Grab that top band, bring it back to itself. So that's where those diamonds are that's throwing me off, okay? So go in, grab the top band, which is that short diagonal, bring it back to itself, go in, grab the short diagonal, should be the band on top, and bring it back to itself. All right, so go ahead and finish that all the way up to the end of the loom and try not to miss any. Make sure they're all loomed back up, and I will be back with you. Alrighty, so I'm back, and the last thing I did was laid these bands out this way, okay? And this is what your loom should look like. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to bring everything back. These long diagonals are going to come back to themselves, every single one of them. So it starts on the second pin bar, third pin, Well, let's do this again. Third pin bar, second pin, because we have this short one here we have to bring back. So we're going to go in, grab that band, and bring it down. Okay. Go up. Well, come on. Go up to the next one, which is a long diagonal. Now the next ones will all be long diagonals, I believe. And bring it back to itself. Well, come on. Up to the next one, bringing it back to itself. It's a long stretch, don't forget. And there are a lot of bands on there. I pushed down, but there's still lots of them. Okay? So I'm going to go up to the next diagonal and bring it down and to the left. Okay? I'm going to go over to the other side, remembering the short diagonal here. So it's the third pin bar, second pin. I'm going to go in, grab that band. It's a band on top, and bring it back to itself. Your long diagonal is next. You're going to go in, grab that long diagonal, and bring it back to itself. Lots of bands on there. I don't know if you can see them. Tons of them on there. Okay, so the next long diagonal, go in, grab it, and bring it back to itself. Okay, so just go ahead and do that all the way up to the end of the loom, and I will be back with you when I'm finished. Okay, so I'm back, and the last thing I did was this diagonal that was right here. I took it from here and brought it back to itself, and I took this diagonal from here and brought it back to itself. Okay, and this is what your loom should look like. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to loop up the single chains on the side here. Okay, so you want to go in, grab the single chain that goes straight up, which should be the band that's on top, and loop it back to itself. Okay, and like I said, I have tons and tons of bands on here, so hopefully I don't think that's it. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just pull it out and make sure that I get it. I want to make sure I get the right band. Come on. And I believe that's it. Oh my goodness. Tight in there. That is the correct band. So, you know, if you're using 600, it's probably not going to be that tight, and it won't be as thick on there, but I do like to use the thicker bands on bracelets like this. So it's my own fault, and I don't want to break it, so I'm going to pull it up with my fingers. So do your single chains all the way up there. I'm going to go over to the other side here, and I always seem to have a problem with the right side. Not cooperating with me, but yeah, okay. So more than one way, right? I'm just going to hold it and make sure that I'm getting the correct band. And I believe that's it. We'll see. Okay. And I do have a lot of bands on there, like I said, so yeah, and that's the correct band. Goes up and over, and I have pushed bands down, trust me. So grab the next one that goes straight up, and I believe that's it. I'll find out in a moment. Nope, that is not it. Wrong one. Wrong one. I'm just going to leave that right there instead of popping it down. Well, you know, I'm just having a problem with this side. I don't know why. It's just kind of odd. But I'm trying to keep my hands out of the way. And maybe that's it. Yes. All right. Give it a tug and bring it straight up. Go in, grabbing the top band, hoping that's the top band, And like I said, they're really thick, so I'm just giving it a tug up this way. All right, so go ahead and do your single chains all the way up to the end of your loom, and I will be back with you. Okay, so I'm back and I got my single bands up the sides. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work the zigzags. Okay, so I actually have already, oh my goodness, he's loud. I've already gone in and pulled this one right here. Okay, I've pulled that one to itself. And I struggled a little bit with the one under here, and I don't know why. I had started to do it, and I thought I had the right band, and it just didn't want, and I know that's the right band. If I pull on it, I can see this move here. So I'm going to bring it back to itself. Now, it might be because I have all of these. There we go. It didn't want to move before, so I apologize. Oh, sometimes you know, I'm looking at it and I double check to make sure I'm doing it correctly, and then come back and do it with you, but it was just a little odd. So what you wanted to do was you had the zigzags, and you had this first zigzag here, and you bring that back to itself. And everything is going to be worked out back to itself from the second pin bar. Okay, so we're going to go in, grab that top band, which is the other part of the zigzag, and bring it back to itself. Go up to the next pin, grab the top band, and bring it back to itself. And then grab the next top band and bring it back to itself. Okay? And do the same thing on the other side. Now, with the zigzags, you want to remember that you have this band right here, and it needs to go back to itself. So, I'm going to go in, grab that band, should be the band on top, and bring it back to itself. Okay? Again, we're working from this pin bar right here, the second pin bar from the right, and everything is going back out to itself. So I'm going to go in and grab this diagonal here. If I can get it on this side, grab it and bring it back to itself. There we go. I don't know why I struggled on the other side. And you know, when you're on camera, it's a lot different doing this than if you're doing it, I should say, in real life. I'm doing it in real life, but you know, without someone watching. So 1, 2, third pin bar, bringing those diagonals back to themselves. Okay, well, see? Not kidding. Because you know, when you're doing it yourself, without having to put it on camera, you can rotate it and move it and hold it up close to your face so you can see it, and you know, so it makes it a little more difficult when you're filming. So bring all those diagonals back to themselves, and I will be back with you when I finish with mine. Okay, and they all just loop out back to themselves. All right, so go ahead and finish those, and I will be back with you. Going up second pin, you'll take each one of them out back to themselves, and the same thing with the second pin from the right. They will all go back out. All right, I will see you when I'm done. So I am back, and I did the zigzags. Now, one thing you wanted to remember was that you had a band here. So you'll have to go in here and bring that band back. And the same thing over on the other side here. You'll go in, grab that band, and bring it back to the outside. Okay? Now, this next step can be a little tricky. So I have messed with it a couple of times and tried to figure out the easiest way to do it. And I think I've got it figured out, but we'll find out. So what you're going to do is you're going to go in here. You have 4 bands, okay? Now you're not going to be looping them up. It's something a little bit different. I've never seen this, and so we're going to try it and see what happens. going to go in past the two bands on the top, this band and this band, okay? And then you're going to reach in and grab the next two bands, which are the other ends of that band, and then hold on to them. Pull them off, okay? Then we're going to take our hook and lift the top one off and the bottom one off, and then put these two back on our hook. I'm sorry, back on our pin. Okay? Gives you a unique crossed over look here. All right? So, yeah. I think that's the easiest way to do it. So again, I'm going to go in to the side. If I can get this good. Let's see if I can get it focused a little bit better. Okay, you have these 4 bands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, they are these diagonals right here. Going to reach in, pull the top 2 out of the way, grab the bottom, well, not the bottom 2, but the next 2. That's not your border band. It should be just 2. And pull them off. Okay. If you wiggle and jiggle, you might not even have to use that extra hook, and then put these 2 back on. Okay. And I took them off. Trying to figure out how I took them off. Okay, there we go. 1 and 2. All right, so then that gives you a cross right here, that little X. I'm going to get it a little bit closer so you can see it, and then focus it in. So you get like a little X across here. See that? This way and that way. Okay, I'm going to do that with you one more time on this side. But I think I'm going to use my hook. It just seems to be easier for me, the extra hook. So, not your border band, but you've got 4 bands, and they are these 2 bands from this one and the 2 bands from here. You're going to go in. You've got the 2 right here. Going to grab the other 2 on the bottom, pull them off, and then I'm going to go ahead and use my hook and lift the other one off because it gets a little fidgety for me. Okay, and once you do that and you have those on, crossed over, you're going to take these 2 and put them back on. And just be careful you don't lose them. Put them back on your pin. Well, come on. Can't get that other side. Yeah, it's like it's in the way. All right, I'll do it another way. That way I know I've got it for sure. Okay, so you've got your crossover here, and then you have 2 bands on here. I skipped one, didn't I? Okay, so I skipped this one, so I'm going to go in and do that one. Going in, pulling away the 2 top ones, grabbing the next 2 available, and make sure I'm only getting those. Let me go to the side here again. That's what I'm saying. It's so much easier when you're just doing it yourself, because then you can pull those up, you know, and just mess with them yourself. Okay, so I'm going to pull these 2 off, however you get it. See that crossband right there? When you put this back on, you have another crossband, and I just don't want to lose these. So, come on. Just afraid I'm going to lose them off of my hook. So you just have to be very careful with that. It makes a really, really cute design on the other side, and you'll see it when we're done. So I'm going to do the other side with you. Don't be discouraged. you can get this. If I can get it, you can get it. You've got your 4 bands here. Going to reach in, pull the top 2 away. Okay. Grab the bottom, the next 2 available, which should be the other parts of that. And make sure I've got just the 2 of them. Okay, and I'm going to pull them off. And if that comes off, that's fine. I'm going to use my hook, grab the other one off because I want to loop them around those 2 bottoms. Just like that. And then put this back on. Now, why this side was easier than the other side, I have no clue. The right side usually gives me a hard time. We'll do that with you again. Gonna pull, reach in and push the 2 top ones out of the way. Grab the next 2 available. Making sure that's all you have. Pull them off. If that comes off, that's fine because we want it to come off. I'm going to take my hook, and you could use your finger and pull that other one off. What you're doing is you're dropping them down over this one or these 2 right here. And I'm afraid I'm going to lose them, so I'm going to spread them like this and then put them back on. Okay. I've never seen that done before. I don't know if you have, but I know I haven't. So I'm just looking at it to make sure it's crossed. I'll do this with you one more time, and then I'll let you do it yourself. So pull the top 2 away, grab the next 2 available, pull them off. Just make sure you do not lose them. Pull them off, and then those 2 that were on the top get pulled off of that. So you can see they're looped around this. Okay? So I, again, don't want to lose them, so I'm going to use my other hook. I'm going to go in and separate them. Just like that. And then put them back on. And I missed one. Oh yeah, missed one. There we go. Okay. However you can figure that out to do that, that's fine. But you can see I have the cross, well, come on. The cross band right here. Both of them. It's X'd. This one across the top and this one across the bottom. Okay. So, got my hook caught on the other one. So please don't get discouraged, because this is a beautiful, beautiful design, and it's for a really, really good it has an awesome sentiment behind it. Yeah, so you can do it. I know you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm telling you right now, you can do this. Rewind. Do it a couple of times. If you don't get it, put your bands back on your hook. Back on your pin, and you can figure out how to put them back on by looking at one of the other ones, okay? If you've gotten them out of order. I know you can do it. So I'm going to go off. I'm going to finish mine, and then I will be back with you. Okay, so I am back, and I hope you did not get discouraged with that stitch. It really isn't that difficult. It's just a little fidgety. And now I know why she laid this one up here, because you need to do the same thing here on both ends. Okay, so I'm hoping that you made it through that. Weathered the storm, so to speak. All right, so earlier, I was a little concerned about these bands right here. Well, we're fine. So now is when we're going to loop them up. We're going to go in, grab that top band, which is that diagonal that goes to here, and loop it. Come on. I know you're the one. There we go. Loop it to the center. Okay. I'm going to grab the other diagonal, and we're going to loop that to the center, back to itself. Okay. Now I have pushed bands down, but like I said, you know, I have lots of bands on here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to, the hexagons that are in here, we're going to loop them back also. So we're going to go in, first one on top, loop it back to itself. Go in, grab the next one that's on top, which should be the band that goes straight up, loop it to itself, and then grab this diagonal here, which should be the one on top, and loop it back to itself. Okay, I'm going to drop down, going to grab this diagonal here, should be the band on top, and loop it back to itself. Take the one that goes straight up, band on top, loop it back to itself, and then this one here, back to itself. Come on, I'm going to use my fingers because I don't want anything breaking. So, what you're doing with that is you're actually encasing the starburst that was here. Okay, so I'm going to do the exact same thing. We're going to go in, because now we have these diagonals here. I'm going to go and make sure I did not miss anything down there. Grab that diagonal, loop it to the center, go in, is that the right one? You know what, let me back, okay, let's back this up a second. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be looping up the beads, right? Let me, you know what, let me back up just a second here. Let me take this back off of here. Because it's getting late and I'm getting a little tired. But I do believe that those go back to themselves. And I don't see in the flipogram where it's done right this second, because we're going to be looping up that center chain, and I believe that's where it gets caught. So let's ignore that for a second, because this is the band that I want here. That's what threw me off. Okay, so you have your hexagon. Going to go in, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up. My bead is in the way. Grab it, bring it back to itself. Go into that same pin, grab the one that goes straight up and down, bring it back to itself, and then grab this diagonal and bring it back to itself. Okay, I'm going to drop down, grabbing this diagonal here, bring it back to itself, go up, grab the next band on top, which should be the one that goes straight up, bring it back to itself. Your next band on top will be the diagonal that goes to the center. You see that? We're looping these hexagons that were in here. Okay, so do that around each of your starburst, and then I will meet you back here when I am done. You can rewind if you need to. All right, and I will be back. Okay, so I am back, and the last thing I did was I went out this way and here. Now, I didn't see where she put a band on here, so I didn't do it either. So anyway, it comes across here and up here. It's not to say that she didn't, I just didn't see it. So finished off this hexagon and stopped right here with it. Okay, now is where we're actually going to loop up those beaded bands. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in, we're going to grab the band that goes straight up, put it here, go up, grab that beaded band, not the beaded band, I'm sorry, the single band that goes straight up, go in over to the right here where this, it's your third pin bar, second pin. You're going to go in and grab that beaded band and bring it straight to the center. Go over to the right and grab the other part of that beaded band. Oops, you can't even see it, can you? Okay, well, I'll do that with you again. Grab that other part of that beaded band and bring it to the center. So this is what I did. Single chain, single chain. I reached in right here, third pin bar, second pin, and brought that beaded band to the center, dropped over here, and brought the other part of that beaded band to the center. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, grab that single chain, bring it up, go in, grab the next single chain, bring it up, go in, grab the next single chain, and bring it up. So that's three, well, come on, that's 3 single chains. Okay. Sorry. Like I said, it's getting a little tired. Before we loop this back up, we're going to take our bands from our bead, pull it out, and bring it to the center. Go in and grab the other one, pull it out, and bring it to the center. Okay. Now we're going to do our single chains again. And the bead might be in the way, like mine is in the way. It's the only band on there, but if the bead's in the way, it's a little difficult to get. So single chain, single chain, single chain up the center. Near where your bead is, go over to the left where your bead is, grab that end of that beaded band and bring it to the center. Go over to the right, grab that beaded band and bring it up into the center. Okay, so I think you've got that. Gotta get past that bead. There we go. So single chain, single chain, single chain. There should be 3 single. Oop, did I miss a single chain there? Oh my goodness. Well, maybe not. It's right there. Okay. Must have fallen off, and that's okay because I'm just going to hold on to it. Going to go through everything and grab it. I don't know how that fell off, but it did. So you get to see we all make mistakes, right? So if I can get that in there. Well, let me flip it around the other way. That's fine. I'm going to just bring it up. There we go. I don't know how that popped off of there, but it did. Okay. So you're going to get your next single chain and bring it straight up. Boy, if this bracelet comes out for me, I'll be lucky, huh? Go. Just drop down over to the left and grab the band that has your bead on it, bring it to the center. Go and grab the other one and bring it to the center. Okay, so do that all the way up. Rewind if you have to, and hopefully you didn't have any bands that came off like mine did. But, you know, when it's a single chain like that, it's pretty easy because as long as you make sure that it goes through every single thing that's, you know, all the bands, because it's on the bottom, it should be okay to do. All right, so go ahead and finish that up all the way to the end, and I will be back with you. So I'm back, and I brought my beaded bands to the center, single band up and single band up, and this is what your loom should look like. Okay? All right, so I think we have 2 steps left, and that's it. We're good to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to loop up the pattern that's in here. Okay? So, starting first pin bar, first pin, reach in, grab the band that's on top. Oh, look at all those bands, and bring it back to itself. Now this one, next one is diagonal down. So you want to reach in through everything, grab that band, make sure, I need to make sure I only have the one. It's hard to tell because there are so many bands on here. Okay, I believe that's it, and I'm going to give it a stretch. Especially at the end here, the beginning, there are a lot of bands on here. This next band goes straight up. Reach in, grab that, bring it straight up. Then we have the 2 diagonals. one. Oh, look at all those bands, goodness. And one more. And again, I don't want it breaking, so I will use my fingers to pull, excuse me, to pull that. All right, do this with you one more time. It goes up, down, up, diagonal, diagonal. Okay, and then we'll do the other side. And again, a ton of bands on there. Make sure I get just the bottom. Let's see, is that it? I'm not sure if that's it or not, and I don't want my pattern to be messed up, so I'm going to put it back in there and give it a little wiggle jiggle. And it might be a little difficult to get because it is, you know, diagonal down. So, and it's hard for me to see unless I'm standing up, and I don't want to stand up. Okay. I believe this is, not sure if that is it or not. Yes, I do believe that is it. I saw this move here, so yes, I know that is it. So then straight up. Okay, out to the left twice. One, did not push those down, and two. So just follow that pattern all the way up to the end of the loom. Okay, and I'm going to do the other side, and then I'm also going to do the border with you. All right, so we're going to start here. Last pin bar, first pin, bring it to the left. Going to reach in and grab the diagonal down here. I believe that's it. I'll find out in just a second. Let me give it a tug. Don't know. All right, like I said, there's a lot of bands in here, so it's hard to get the first section for me. Goodness. What, Sebastian? All right, so I believe this one's it. Yes, it is. My pretty teardrop. I don't know what he's up to, but he is making a lot of noise. So let's go up, and then you'll do diagonal to the right. And all you want to do is just follow that pattern, okay? So follow that pattern all the way up to the end of your loom, and once you're done, come back, and we're just going to loop up. He definitely has something to say tonight. I may just have to go off and finish my border bands. So just loop up your border. And again, I did not push everything down, which is I should have, but I did not. And that doesn't, well, I know that's the one. Okay, I'm going to put this on here and then wiggle this to get it. Like I said, especially down here, there's a lot of bands down here. So you want to just loop up that border all the way to the top once you finish your pattern. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and, whoops. Oh boy, I should have pushed these down. You see how that pops off? And that's what I was saying. If you don't put your bands on and push them down, things like that will happen. They will pop off. So let me finish out this other side here. Sorry, this is a long tutorial. Again, they're tight. And then just loop up your border all the way to the outside. Now, when you go to take this off, I will meet you at the top with most of mine already taken off. But when you take it off, very carefully pull your bands off of your pins. This is very tight for me. I have a lot of bands on here and a lot of thick bands, and I really don't want anything breaking. So finish your pattern all the way up on both sides. Come back and loop out your border all the way up on the both sides, and then meet me back here and we will pull it off the loom. So I am back, and before I take this all the way off the loom, I have my closure band here. I'm going to reach through all those bands on that pin and hook it so that they're secure, okay? And you know me and C-clips, I don't do them very well, so I'm going to just put my little plastic safety pin through here. Now, I'm hoping, and I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking it's coming out okay. I wanted subtle colors because of the sentiment behind this. Okay, so, there we go. Oh my goodness, what happened to my flip? Give me just a second here. Something screwy happened. I wonder if I got rebooted or something. Go just a second. So sorry. Okay, so because it was dedicated to those of domestic violence and for those who have died young, I did not want anything super, I didn't want it dark and I didn't want it bright. I wanted it to fit the cause. Oh, did I miss something? I sure did. Oop, oop, oop. I did not. How did I think I missed? Well, you know what? I'm going to pull it off and very carefully. And see, and that's another reason why you want to be careful when you're pulling off your bands. In case you've missed something, you can catch it and or fix it. And it looks like I forgot these two right here. So what I'm going to do, very easily, I'm going to pull them to the back and tie them off. Okay? Yeah. So let me do that right now. I'm just going to reach in and pull the one. And that's why you don't want to pull them off. I mean, you know, you can certainly miss something like that and then have your whole, look at, see, you can't even really tell. You could have your whole bracelet. Oh my gosh, look at this. Let me get this loom out of the way. You know what I did? I did it again. I'm so sorry for leaving my microphone off. What I was saying was, because of what it's dedicated for, I didn't want anything dark. And I know I could have done the darks here, but this is Angel of Hope. And look at that. They look like angels. Do they look like angels? Let me flip them around. I've still got my hook on there because I want to fix those two in the back. But look, they look like angels. Oh my goodness. I don't think I could have picked anything better for colors for me. I've got a lot of bands to fix and I've got beads to straighten, but I wanted to show you one thing, and let me just, in the meantime, let me just get a hook onto this right here. I don't want to, actually, let me get a band and I'll just do a, you know, we all make mistakes, right? I mean, it's late here, and as long as we can fix them, that's what counts. So I'm going to just slip stitch those two together and I'll hide that, and it looks just fine, I think. Okay. Now I'm hoping that I did this right for Michaela. I believe I did. But anyway, and you can see right here, let's see if I can get a better picture of that. Where we brought those bands over, do you see what it did here? It made it like a slip stitch in there. That's what it looks like to me anyway, but it's really kind of cool the way that it goes out like that. Okay, so what I wanted to mention to you about the beads. I did these beads underneath this single chain when I laid it. This one I did not. And you can see the band on either side. So if you are making it, or you're looking at this first before making that, that might make a decision as for you as to whether you lay this band, this beaded band across before you lay that single chain up the end or up the center. Okay, so again, I have beads to fix, bands to straighten, because I have a lot of sparklies in here and I want them to show. So this is Angel of Hope. Let me back it up a little bit, see how far I can back it, not too far. Angel of Hope by ClarkMichaella. She is on Instagram under ClarkMichaella, and she is also has a Flipagram account, and that is Michaella Dawn Clark, I believe. Okay, so give her a follow for me. Take a look at her Flipagrams if you'd like. And this is a little big for me. I can already tell. It's a little big, unless I wanted to wear it loose. Now I have a 6.5 inch wrist, but you know, I could still put a C-clip on there or something. But I can, when I do the tutorials for the designs with patterns in the center, I do the whole design, and I do it because I don't want to mess up the pattern. So anyway, that's why I do that. So I am also on Instagram, LilahsGigi. If you enjoyed this tutorial, although it was pretty long, I apologize. Give me a follow on Instagram, like my photos if you'd like, and subscribe to my channel here for future tutorials. I have quite a few coming up. Oh my gosh, I'm so pleased with the way this came out. Angel of Hope. Take care.